Hi everybody and welcome to my weekly garden video. It's going to be a little shorter this week because I spent last week in Hawaii and didn't do much gardening. When I returned yesterday, I went out to the garden and saw that my strawberries had started coming in, which is really exciting. I really love strawberries, so I spent some time picking about a gallon, and more are coming in. Also, I noticed that really on the week I was gone, the peas really took off and started coming in, so there's a lot of pea pods on the bush, and that's just some of the peas I ended up picking. But really this is just going to be an overview of what the garden looks like this week because I didn't do much gardening. That was my cabbage, and my lettuces and spinaches are starting to bolt, so those will get pulled out. Onions on the right in that second row, some sunflowers. And then here's my garlic in this second row, and my basil, which is kind of hard to see, so here's a close-up on my basil because a lot of it's purple. Then I have my cucumbers in the following row, and then in the next row back there you see some tomatoes, as well as some cilantro, which is bolting, and some zucchini. Here's a zoom in on my zucchini. That's starting to come in really nice. I do eat a lot of zucchini. Here are carrots. I don't often show them, but I have been growing them, haven't harvested any. And this is my, my cauliflower row, which I might get 4 out of. We'll see how that goes. Here are my tomatoes. They had not been doing really well. They were kind of stunted because of the cold, but they've grown so much I actually clipped a bunch off. There's a little pile there. I forgot to record myself doing that. And then here are my beans. My pole beans are starting to grow up the pole. My bush beans are starting to flower a little bit, the ones that are a little bigger. And my fava beans are actually, producing nice bean pods, which is exciting. Here's a little zoomed out version of my peas. They're doing really great. And then my corn there in the ground right there. And then here's just a couple views of my squash, which are starting to come in and have their first flowers, which I'm excited about. This is my row of cucumbers. They're also growing big enough now that I'm going to start training them up that trellis there. Right before I left on Hawaii, I started some beets to germinate them. That was before I germinated them. The only thing I did this week was actually separate them out to do 1 seed per pod. And so that's really all I did this week, but I thought I would leave you with some sights and sounds of my trip to Maui, and hope you guys all have a good week.